New Orleans is one of the most distinctive cities in America, a place that feels less like the rest of the country and more like its own little world. Before you book anything, here is everything you actually need to know before you go. We are covering getting around, the best areas to stay, honest safety advice, real costs, the best time to visit, and the mistakes first-timers keep making. From the wrought iron balconies of the French Quarter to the live brass bands of Frenchmen Street and the oak-lined avenues of the Garden District, New Orleans packs an enormous amount of character into a compact, walkable city. Save this video before you start booking, because we are answering the questions people actually search before landing in the Big Easy. Let us start with getting there and getting around. Almost everyone flies into Louis Armstrong New Orleans International Airport, about a 30-minute drive west of the city center depending on traffic. From the airport, a ride-share or taxi to the French Quarter or downtown is the easiest option, with taxis charging a fixed flat rate for up to 2 passengers into the central area. There is also an affordable public bus and a regional transit option from the airport. But for most visitors arriving with luggage, the small savings rarely justify the extra time and transfers. Once you are in the city, the good news is that New Orleans is remarkably walkable, and the French Quarter in particular is best explored entirely on foot. The historic streetcars are both a mode of transport and an attraction in themselves, with the St. Charles Avenue line rolling past the mansions of the Garden District for the price of a cheap fare. Buy a jazzy pass for unlimited streetcar and bus rides over 1 or 3 days, which quickly pays for itself if you plan to ride more than a couple of times. Rideshare services like Uber and Lyft are widely available and reliable, though prices surge sharply during major festivals and big events, so budget accordingly around Mardi Gras or Jazz Fest. You almost certainly do not need a rental car for a city-focused trip. Parking in the French Quarter is scarce and expensive, and the walkable core makes a car more hassle than help. A rental car only makes sense if you plan day trips to the plantations along the river, the swamps of the bayou, or the Gulf Coast beaches beyond the city. The Canal Street Ferry across the Mississippi to Algiers Point is a scenic, cheap little ride that doubles as a lovely way to see the skyline from the water. Biking is increasingly popular thanks to the flat terrain and a growing bike share program, a pleasant way to cover the stretch between the Quarter, the Marigny, and City Park. Be aware that New Orleans streets are famously uneven, with buckled sidewalks and potholes throughout. So comfortable, sturdy shoes matter more here than in most cities. And if you are visiting during a festival, plan extra travel time everywhere. Road closures and parade routes routinely reshape how you move around the city for days at a stretch. Where you stay shapes your whole trip, so let us break down the best areas. The French Quarter is the obvious first choice, putting you in the heart of the history, music, and nightlife within walking distance of almost everything. Within the Quarter, the blocks nearer the river and away from Bourbon Street tend to be quieter at night. A better bet if you want atmosphere without the noise until dawn. The Central Business District and the neighboring Warehouse District offer modern hotels, the World War II Museum, and art galleries. An easy walk from the Quarter, but calmer in the evenings. The Garden District is the choice for a more relaxed, elegant base, with its historic mansions, oak-lined streets, and boutique shopping along Magazine Street. The Marigny, just downriver from the Quarter, is home to Frenchmen Street and its live music scene, a favorite for travelers who want nightlife with a more local, less touristy feel. Uptown, further along the streetcar line, gives you leafy residential charm, universities, and a slower pace, ideal if you do not mind a short ride into the action. For a first trip, the French Quarter or the neighboring CBD give you the best balance of walkability, sights, and easy access to everything the city is known for. Families and travelers wanting quiet often prefer the Garden District or Uptown, where the streets feel residential and the nightlife noise is a comfortable distance away. Budget travelers will find better nightly rates in the CBD, the Marigny, or Mid-City than in the heart of the Quarter, all still close enough to walk or take a short streetcar ride. Avoid booking directly on Bourbon Street itself unless you specifically want to be in the thick of the party. The noise genuinely does not stop until well into the morning. Mid-City, near City Park and the Canal streetcar line, offers a residential local feel with lower prices and easy access to some of the city's best casual restaurants. Whatever you choose, book early for any festival dates. New Orleans hotels fill up months ahead and prices spike dramatically around Mardi Gras, Jazz Fest, and major events. And note that many of the city's most charming stays are historic buildings, full of character but sometimes light on modern amenities like elevators. So check the details if that matters to you. Now let us talk safety honestly, because New Orleans has a real reputation here that deserves a clear-eyed answer rather than either panic or dismissal. The tourist core, the French Quarter, the Garden District, and the streetcar routes sees heavy foot traffic and a visible police presence, and most visitors spend their whole trip without incident. That said, the city does have higher crime rates than many destinations, and the safe advice is to stay alert. Stick to well-populated, well-lit areas and trust your instincts after dark. Bourbon Street at night is chaotic and heavily policed, but also a magnet for pickpockets and petty theft. So keep your phone and wallet secured and watch your drinks. Use rideshare or a taxi rather than walking long distances late at night, especially when moving between neighborhoods or heading back to your hotel after the bars. Petty theft and car break-ins are the most common problems for visitors, so never leave anything visible in a parked car and keep bags zipped and close in crowds. Stick to the main, busy streets when walking, and be cautious about wandering into unfamiliar residential areas that empty out quickly just a few blocks off the tourist path. During festivals and parades, the huge crowds are generally good-natured but also prime territory for pickpockets, so carry only what you need and keep it secured on your body. Emergency services are reliable, and the general emergency number across the United States is 911, which you can call from any phone at no charge. Watch your alcohol intake, since the city's famous go-cup culture and round-the-clock bars make overindulging easy, and impaired visitors are far more likely to become targets. Solo travelers can absolutely enjoy New Orleans, but the standard precautions matter a bit more here, staying in busier areas at night and keeping someone informed of your plans. Summer heat and humidity are their own safety issue, with real risk of heat exhaustion, so pace yourself, hydrate constantly, and take breaks in the shade or air conditioning. Overall, treat New Orleans like the big city it is. Keep your wits about you and stick to well-traveled areas, and the vast majority of visitors have a wonderful, trouble-free time. Let us get practical about cost, because New Orleans can be surprisingly affordable or shockingly expensive depending entirely on when you visit. Outside of festival season, a mid-range hotel in or near the French Quarter typically runs $150 to $300 a night, with the CBD and mid-city often cheaper. During Mardi Gras, Jazz Fest, and major conventions, those same rooms can double or triple, and many hotels impose multi-night minimums, so timing is the single biggest factor in your budget. Food ranges enormously. You can eat incredibly well for very little at a po' boy shop or a casual gumbo spot, or spend freely at the city's celebrated fine dining institutions. A sit-down dinner for two at a mid-range restaurant commonly runs $60 to $100, while the legendary white tablecloth spots climb well beyond that. Drinks are a real budget line here given the city's bar culture, though happy hours and the go-cup tradition let you enjoy the scene without paying club prices everywhere. A realistic budget for a long weekend for two people outside festival season, including a mid-range hotel, meals, drinks, and a couple of tours, lands somewhere around $1,200 to $2,000. Budget travelers can cut costs sharply by staying just outside the quarter, eating at casual local spots, riding the streetcar, and taking advantage of free live music on Frenchmen Street. Many of the city's best experiences are cheap or free, wandering the quarter, Listening to street musicians, riding the St. Charles streetcar, and strolling the Garden District cost almost nothing. Tipping is an important part of the budget, and in a service and hospitality town like New Orleans, generosity toward bartenders, servers, and musicians is both expected and appreciated. Guided tours, from swamp tours to cemetery and history walks, typically run $20 to $60 a person, a worthwhile splurge for the stories you simply cannot get on your own. Watch for automatic gratuity added to checks for larger groups, and for the resort or amenity fees some hotels tack on. Both easy to overlook when planning your spending. And keep some cash on hand since street performers, small vendors, and a few classic old bars still prefer it, even as cards are accepted almost everywhere else. So when is the best time to go? For most travelers, the sweet spot is late winter through spring, roughly February through May, when the weather is mild and the city is at its liveliest. Spring brings comfortable temperatures, blooming courtyards, and the two biggest events on the calendar: Mardi Gras and the New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Festival. Mardi Gras is the city's signature spectacle, an unforgettable experience of parades, costumes, and revelry. But it also means the highest prices, biggest crowds, and hardest to find rooms of the year. Jazz Fest in late April and early May draws music lovers from around the world and is a joyful, quintessentially New Orleans experience, again with festival-level prices and demand. Fall, from October through early December, is another excellent window, with cooler weather, thinner crowds, and a packed calendar of food and cultural festivals. Summer, from June through September, is hot, intensely humid, and prone to sudden downpours, and it overlaps with hurricane season, so it is the low season for good reason. The upside of summer is lower prices and smaller crowds, and if you can tolerate the heat and keep an eye on the weather, you can find real bargains on hotels. Hurricane season officially runs from June through November, peaking in late summer, so if you travel then, travel insurance and a flexible booking are genuinely worth having. If your goal is to experience Mardi Gras, remember that the date shifts each year with the calendar, so confirm the exact dates well before making any plans. If you want the city's energy without the festival madness, aim for a regular weekend in spring or fall, when you get great weather and live music without the parade week chaos. Whatever season you choose, pack for humidity and sudden rain. A light rain layer and breathable clothing will serve you far better than anything heavy. And book well ahead for any festival or holiday weekend, since the best value rooms in walkable areas disappear months in advance around the big events. Weekends year-round are livelier and pricier than weekdays, so if you want a calmer, cheaper visit, a midweek trip outside festival season is the quiet traveler's secret. On to the must-sees, starting with the French Quarter itself, the oldest neighborhood in the city and a living museum of Creole townhouses, wrought iron balconies, and hidden courtyards. Jackson Square, anchored by the striking St. Louis Cathedral, is the historic and visual heart of the quarter, ringed by artists, musicians, and fortune-tellers. Ride the St. Charles Avenue streetcar the full length of its route, a cheap and scenic journey past the grand mansions and ancient oaks of the Garden District. The National World War II Museum is consistently rated among the best museums in the country. An immersive, moving experience that easily fills half a day. Frenchman Street at the Marigny is where locals go for live music. A walkable stretch of clubs where you can hear world-class jazz, funk, and brass most nights of the week. Take a stroll through the Garden District to admire the antebellum mansions and, if you are interested, one of the historic above-ground cemeteries the city is famous for. A swamp or bayou tour just outside the city offers a completely different side of Louisiana, gliding past cypress trees and alligators in the wetlands. City Park, larger than New York's Central Park, is home to the New Orleans Museum of Art, a sculpture garden, and the fairy tale oaks of the sculpture-dotted grounds. Grab a coffee and beignets at the famous Café du Monde by the river, a rite of passage that is touristy, yes, but genuinely worth doing at least once. Explore Magazine Street for 6 miles of independent boutiques, antique shops, and casual restaurants, a favorite for browsing away from the crowds of the quarter. Catch the sunset along the Mississippi River from the Moonwalk or Woldenberg Park, watching the paddle wheel steamboats roll past the downtown skyline. And consider a guided history, music, or food tour, which turns the city's endlessly layered stories into something you can actually follow and remember. For a small fee, a paddle wheel steamboat cruise on the Mississippi combines live jazz, river history, and a classic New Orleans experience into a couple of easy hours. Now for the reason many people come at all, the food. Because New Orleans is one of the great eating cities on the planet, and its cuisine exists nowhere else quite like it. Start with gumbo, the rich, dark stew of the region, and jambalaya, its rice-based cousin, both cornerstones of the Creole and Cajun cooking the city is built on. A po' boy, the local overstuffed sandwich on crusty French bread, is essential, whether dressed with fried shrimp, oysters, or roast beef swimming in gravy. Beignets, the square, sugar-dusted fried dough at Café du Monde, are the classic sweet, best enjoyed hot with a cup of chicory coffee. Crawfish are a seasonal obsession, and if you visit in spring, you owe it to yourself to join a crawfish boil, a messy communal feast that is pure Louisiana. Fresh Gulf oysters, raw on the half-shell or char-grilled with garlic butter, are a New Orleans institution worth seeking out at a classic oyster bar. Do not leave without trying muffuletta, the enormous round sandwich of cured meats, cheese, and olive salad that is a meal in itself. The city is also the birthplace of iconic cocktails, from the Sazerac to the Ramos Gin Fizz, and sipping one where it was invented is part of the experience. For dessert beyond beignets, seek out bananas. Foster, the flaming banana and rum dessert created in the city, often prepared tableside for a bit of theater. Balance the famous institutions with the humble neighborhood spots. Some of the best meals in New Orleans come from unassuming corner restaurants and family kitchens. Reservations at the marquee restaurants can be essential, especially on weekends and during festivals. So book the big names well ahead of your trip. And save room and budget for the casual side of the food scene, the food halls, the festival stalls, and the late-night bites that fuel the city's nightlife. If you can, take a food tour early in your trip. It maps out the flavors and neighborhoods so you know exactly where to return for the rest of your stay. A quick word on culture and etiquette, because New Orleans has its own rhythms and traditions that reward visitors who understand them. Music is woven into daily life here, from street corner buskers to spontaneous second-line parades, and tipping the musicians who make the city sing is simply how it works. The second line, a joyful dancing street procession behind a brass band, is a beloved local tradition, and if you happen upon one, you are welcome to join the fun respectfully. Tipping generally follows the American standard of around 20% for good service, and given how central hospitality is here, generosity goes a long way. The go-cup culture means you can legally carry an open alcoholic drink on the street in the quarter, but glass containers are not allowed, so pour into a plastic cup before you wander. During Mardi Gras, catching beads and trinkets thrown from floats is the whole point, and it is meant to be lighthearted family fun during the daytime parades. Locals take real pride in their city's resilience and culture, so showing genuine interest and respect, rather than treating it as one big party backdrop, is warmly received. Pace yourself with the round-the-clock drinking culture. The city makes it easy to overdo it, and locals generally admire those who savor the scene rather than get sloppy. Greet people warmly and take your time. New Orleans runs on a slower, friendlier rhythm than most American cities, and rushing is a bit beside the point here. When visiting cemeteries, many now require a licensed guide, and in all cases, treating these historic burial grounds with respect is expected. Dress is generally casual, but the humidity is real, so breathable, lightweight clothing and comfortable shoes will serve you far better than anything formal. And embrace the phrase, laissez les bons temps rouler. Let the good times roll. the unofficial motto that captures the city's whole approach to life. A little French Creole flavor lingers in the place names and greetings, so do not be surprised to hear cher or laniapi, a lovely local word for a little something extra. Finally, the mistakes first-timers keep making. Number 1 is spending the entire trip on Bourbon Street, missing the far richer music, food, and history just a few blocks and neighborhoods away. Number 2 is visiting in the peak of summer without understanding the heat and humidity, then wilting by noon because they overpacked the day and underestimated the climate. Number 3 is renting a car for a city-only trip, then paying for expensive parking and fighting one-way streets when walking in the streetcar would have been easier. Number 4 is booking a trip during Mardi Gras, expecting a normal city visit, then being overwhelmed by the crowds, closures, and prices they did not plan for. Number 5 is skipping the neighborhoods beyond the quarter. The Marini, the Garden District, and Mid-City hold some of the city's best food and most authentic character. Number 6 is under-tipping the musicians, bartenders, and guides who make the experience in a hospitality town. That generosity is both expected and remembered. Number 7 is trying to see and do everything in one packed day, when New Orleans rewards a slower pace, long meals, and time to simply wander and listen. Number 8 is ignoring the safety basics, wandering alone late at night into empty areas or leaving valuables visible when a little common sense prevents nearly all trouble. Number 9 is only eating at the famous tourist institutions and missing the humble corner spots where locals actually get the best gumbo and po' boys. Number 10 is not booking restaurants and hotels early enough, especially around festivals, when the best places and best value rooms vanish months ahead. Number 11 is treating cemetery visits casually, when many now require a guide and all deserve respect as historic and sacred spaces. And number 12 is forgetting to just slow down and soak it in. The whole point of New Orleans is the atmosphere, the music, and the unhurried joy of the place. Avoid these, and you sidestep the exact frustrations that turn a first New Orleans trip from magical into merely exhausting. So who is New Orleans actually best for? If you love food, music, and history layered thick on every block, few American cities deliver as concentrated and distinctive an experience. Music lovers are in heaven here, between the nightly live jazz and brass on Frenchmen Street, the street performers, and a festival calendar packed year-round. Foodies find one of the country's great eating cities, where even a casual po' boy or bowl of gumbo can be a highlight of the whole trip. Couples and celebrators are drawn to the romance and revelry, the candlelit courtyards, the late dinners, and the sense that any night can become a celebration. History and architecture lovers get centuries of layered Creole, French, Spanish, and American heritage preserved in the Quarter and the Garden District. Nightlife seekers and party travelers will find no shortage of energy. From Bourbon Street's chaos to the more local scenes in the Marini and beyond. It is a bit less suited to travelers seeking a quiet, low-key retreat or a beach vacation, since the city's whole appeal is its energy, density, and constant motion. And if this is your first real taste of the American South, New Orleans is one of the most unforgettable, one-of-a-kind introductions the country has to offer. That is everything you need to know before visiting New Orleans in 2026. From getting around to knowing what to skip. Which part of the trip are you most excited for? The French Quarter, the food, or the live music on Frenchmen Street? Tell us in the comments below. If this guide helped you plan your trip, please like and subscribe for more honest, in-depth travel guides from our small channel. Thank you for watching, and aloha from Kahana Designs. Until next time, safe travels and sweet dreams.